Hi warriors, it's Hanne here and welcome back to another Q&A, follow-up from last week's. What you just saw is my perfect morning routine, which I do every single morning, i.e. never. Because I've only just recovered from COVID and then immediately getting food poisoning, I've been sleeping all day and all night for a few days in a row. I've been feeling really sore, not really able to move, so I haven't moved. Anyway, the past few days have been a lot better, but because I've been sleeping so much and resting so much still during the day, this morning I woke up at about 7:30 and we won't have our breakfast until 9 o'clock. So I figured I'd put this time to good use, start stretching out some of those really sore muscles, and I did a 15-minute stretch, which was absolutely divine. In my ideal world, yes, I would do this every single morning, but I don't. I just thought I'd show you what I did today, what a great way to start your morning can look like, but of course it's different for everyone. Usually I roll out of bed and go straight to breakfast, and to me that's perfect. Anyway, today I'm going to be answering a few more of your questions because I received so many questions last time I put a poll out, and I only got to about a third. I've already been waffling for about a minute, but the point of this video is to get through as many questions as possible. The answers will be fairly short and sweet, so stick around. If there's any question that you want me to go into depth on, let me know below and maybe I will do an entire video on that particular question. Without further ado, without further waffling, I've got a business call in half an hour, breakfast in half an hour. This is my time limit. Let's get to the questions. Question number 1. Can not having a period have an unfavorable effect on body composition? I have not really read into this research, so take my response with a grain of salt. But yes, I do think so. Personally, in my recovery, weight redistribution was a big thing on my mind, and I know it is for a lot of people, with the initial weight going particularly to my stomach area. When hormones are out of whack, this is also the area where your weight tends to accrue. It's quite normal. Your body is in a starvation mode. It's trying to take care and protect your organs. So yes, your weight will go to this area before it redistributes. It tends to redistribute once you've been weight restored for a bit of time, once your body feels safe to do so, and yes, once your hormones have rebalanced. Next question. I have anxiety around food before a meal. My eating disorder brain says, how will I eat all this? But I'm hungry after meals. To ease this anxiety, to ease any stress around meals, what I suggest is following a plan. If you have a meal plan or if someone sets out your meals for you, it takes a lot of this anxiety and stress out of the equation because you don't have to make any decisions at the meal times, at the times that are, usually most stressful. So have a meal plan, have someone decide, take some of the questioning and the decision paralysis out of it, and you can already save yourself a lot of trouble. Also, if you are very hungry, if you are experiencing extreme hunger, or if you feel you're still hungry after meals, either up your meal plan, or if you feel ready for it, try to honor that hunger. This is so important in starting to become more in tune with your body. Next question. How do I make myself do what the doctor has advised in terms of physical activity? 1. Educate yourself on the negative side effects of exercise whilst you are underweight and whilst you're mentally struggling or obsessing over exercise. For example, it may adversely impact your hormones, it may keep the obsession going, and so much more. Make a list of all the things exercise is doing to you that are not positive, because obviously the media already bombards you with all the reasons why exercise is such a good thing. Remind yourself of why maybe right now it is not. Step number 2, write those recommendations that your doctor has given you on a sheet of paper, put them on your mirror, read them every single day, and tell yourself, because of these negative side effects, I will stick to the recommendations. If you repeat that to yourself every single day, chances are it's going to imprint in that brain of yours. Lastly, don't just take exercise away. Put something else in its place. So if usually you exercise in the morning, allow yourself that extra bit of sleep, or read a little bit before you start your day. If you usually exercise in the afternoon, give yourself a bit of extra time to do an activity you enjoy, or to have a snack, or to call your mum or a friend. Make it easier for yourself by not just having that empty space of time. Lastly, facilitate the activity and put barriers in the place of doing the activity that you don't want to do. Basically, facilitating the activity means if you usually exercise at a certain time, make sure you've got other things in its place, things that would be difficult to get out of. And putting barriers in place, if your activity of choice, for example, is walking, and you find it really easy to do that because you walk to work, then you walk to school, then you walk to your friends, then you walk here or there, get yourself a bus pass. Or if you usually go to the gym because you pass it on your way, take a different route. Things like that. I go into this in a lot of depth in my online program. I go into this in a lot of depth with my coaching clients. So if this is something you struggle with, and I did get a lot of questions on this, reach out. You don't have to do it alone. What is my biggest challenge today? For me personally, today, because I've been ill, it's just fitting everything into my day. I have got a business call in half an hour. I somehow need to manage to have my breakfast. I have a lot of work I need to do. I have a coaching call. I've got some emails to send out. It's a busy one. I have been taking it really slow because I've not been feeling well. But the work is piling up, if that makes sense, because I'm self-employed. It's not a great time to be ill. But I am still taking it slow. Do you have any odd or weird food combinations or foods or meals that you quite like? I like peanut butter banana, peanut butter and jam. You know, that sweet savory combination, but it's quite a famous one. I don't think it's very odd. During my recovery, I definitely had weirder combinations, or I just put everything together that I fancied in that moment. But nowadays, I think they're quite normal, quite tame. If you have any weird food combinations, let me know below. I'd love to know. Next question. Can too much physical activity cause a lack of menses despite eating enough? Yes. Whichever way we put it, exercise puts stress on the body. That's the reason it's a good thing when you're at a healthy weight, when this stress allows you to, build up a tolerance, build up your muscles, build up your fitness. But when you're underweight, exercise, regardless of how much you're eating, can be detrimental. Equally, exercise, if you are at a healthy weight, if you're not eating enough, can also be a problem, if that makes sense. It's an extra stress on the body. So especially at a time when your body needs rest, it's really important to give it enough rest. And for some people, that means a complete break from exercise. For some people, it's not quite as extreme. Err on the side of giving your body rest, giving it what it needs. Did I personally go for walks during my recovery? Not initially, but it was driving me up the walls, which is the reason I didn't and shouldn't exercise. After some time, I did take my dogs out for brief walks. I think that was 10, 15 minutes. And for my mental health, that was actually really positive. I didn't go straight into working out 10 times a week, lifting heavy weights, going for runs, etc. But that 10-minute walk, for me personally, in my journey, was a positive thing. If it's something you are going to incorporate, maybe check with your medical professionals, see how it makes you feel. Yeah, It's a tricky question. Why is it so hard to decrease my levels of physical activity? One, there's probably a physical obsession component to it. Maybe you're exercising because you feel like you need to in order to be worthy of food, or to compensate for eating, or because you're comparing yourself to others who maybe exercise more. But also, exercise inherently makes you feel good. Even when at a low weight, even when you detest your workouts, there's still those happy hormones circulating. So it's normal that it's difficult to decrease your exercise, but it is still worth doing. It doesn't mean you're not going to exercise for the rest of your life. Just for now, as you heal. Is it possible to recover on only healthy foods, or do we need to face unhealthy fear foods? Personally, I quite enjoy healthy foods, so why not focus on them? I think it's great that you enjoy healthy foods. I think it's great that you incorporate healthy foods. Definitely always focus on abundance, but don't allow this to trick yourself into focusing on restriction. Clearly, although I've been awake for some time, my brain's still asleep. My wording's not the best, but what I'm trying to say is that it's great to like and to enjoy healthy foods. It's great to have these foods. They provide you with a lot of nutrients. But make sure to also focus on density. Make sure to focus on overcoming fear foods, even if these foods aren't your favorite foods, because wouldn't you rather in several years' time be able to go out for a meal with your friends, or be able to spontaneously have a milkshake, or go for ice cream, or have a meal out? Because by facing your fear foods now, whether you feel like it's necessary or not, you overcome that fear and you allow yourself the freedom to do that in the future. Also, you'll find out that maybe some of these foods you think you don't like, or that you've trained yourself not to like, maybe you end up actually quite liking them and finding fun and enjoyment in them. And that's worth a lot. Hi Hanne, I'm embarrassed about years of still eating jars of peanut butter and Biscoff. And I'm further embarrassed by the weight gain I got from binging. Yet despite weight gain, I am still craving jars. What is wrong with me? Why do I keep having overwhelming cravings to binge? I think that question is, in a way, already answered by the question. You're saying, what is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? What inherent problem is within me? And I think it's often that judgment or some subconscious food rules or expectations we have of ourselves that are keeping us stuck. I've been working with a coaching client for some time who does go through periods of feeling really guilty and ashamed of her food choices and feeling like she should be maybe eating less or making different decisions. On the surface, she's doing pretty well. She's eating a healthy, balanced diet. She's at a healthy weight. It's all great. Underneath the surface, there's a lot of judgment. Because of this, she finds that at times she overeats, or in her mind, binges. She craves jars of peanut butter and chocolate. And it's quite normal to crave these foods in particular because they're higher density foods. And if you're trying to restrict these higher density foods or any other higher density foods, or if you're putting food rules in place, chances are you'll want these foods. You'll crave these foods until you give in to those cravings, either by listening to them or through means of a binge or overeating. So my best advice is to stop asking yourself, what is wrong with me? There is absolutely nothing wrong with you, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with having these cravings. If you fancy jars of peanut butter and Biscoff, these foods are delicious. Have them. Eat them every day if you want to. Try to reduce that judgment. This is something I do with my clients through some cognitive behavioral techniques. And it's quite a lot to go into depth on, especially with only a few minutes left to this video. But yeah, try to reduce that judgment. Be gentle on yourself, listen to your cravings, make sure you're eating enough, because even though you say you've gained weight, are you at a healthy weight? Are you eating enough? Check in with yourself. And just keep going. Try to find what makes your heart smile, things that aren't just focused on food and the way your body looks. That would be my best advice. And something I've seen work over and over again in my coaching clients too. Just a few minutes left. Quick fire round. How do I let go of calorie counting, stop weighing myself, and know I'm at a healthy weight? Okay, so calorie counting. When you find yourself calorie counting, distract yourself with other activities and other things. If there's specific times you normally count calories, plan something in during that time beforehand. Secondly, buy foods where you don't know the calorie content. Step 3, do this repeatedly. Over time, that automatic counting will reduce in frequency, and the urge to do so will reduce tremendously as well. I've got an entire video on calorie counting, so I recommend you check that one out. Secondly, how to stop weighing yourself. Throw out the scale. Actually, that's the only step. Throw out the scale. Initially, your anxiety is probably going to go through the roof. After a few days, you'll realize that you can't weigh yourself. There's no need to try and fight this. The urge will subside because the scale is literally not there. And over time, you'll find that this gets easier. It can also help to ask a parent or a partner or someone else to hide the scales so that maybe you can weigh yourself once a month, just to check in to see if you're still on the right track, or to have a blind weighing once every few weeks or once every month. That way you're not on the scales every day or multiple times a day, and it's not going to ruin your day. The final part of this question was, how do you know when you are healthy and weight restored? And that's once your hormones have rebalanced, your blood works are good, you're feeling a lot brighter, you are at a healthy weight, you are energized, and also once the eating disorder voice is simply not there anymore. And that's a bit of a tricky one. I found that when I was weight restored, more or less weight restored, I still had that eating disorder voice there for a bit of time, and maybe it is just time that you need. Maybe it is just a bit of time that you need. But once you're weight restored, have been weight restored for a bit of time, that voice should be completely gone. And if it isn't, that's just a sign to keep going. Breakfast is approaching, and I have a business call to attend. So I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. I don't know if it was quite as quickfire as I'd hoped, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it nevertheless. As I mentioned, let me know your weird food combinations below. Also, let me know if you have any other questions so I can answer that in a future video. Take really good care of yourselves. See you soon. My camera battery died, so I feel like I left this video on a bit of a weird note, but I just wanted to say that today has been crazy busy, it has been crazy lovely, and I just want to send you all these positive vibes through your computer screen or your phone screen or wherever you're watching this. I've had a blast, starting with that collaboration call with this company that is absolutely amazing and whose music you actually heard at the start of this video. Definitely check them out. They do some free trials, and those soundtracks, I find them really meditative and really grounding, and I'm sure you'll find value in them too. And yeah, going from there to having a lovely breakfast, getting some work done, feeling more energized after being ill for a while, having a coaching call, a new sign up. I'm just really grateful. So thank you. See you for the next one. You're right there. His friend is here as well.
Hi.
Lovely vibes.